the message resonates, right? It's
Mm.
not, we're not just saying just random things just for the sake of saying it, right? Being inflammatory for the sake of doing it. No, these are views that we actually have. And the thing I think that's changed over the last years is that people have found some sort of a comfort in really viewing other people's perspectives, because you had on the beginning of all of this bullshit, or you had people kind of being gaslit and thinking that,
Yes.
okay, they're the crazy ones, right? It's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
I see something wrong. I see something that's happening in media, and these fundamental changes to these characters, and they don't like it. And of course, the media, be it with the shield media, access media, they constantly are telling you like, hey, you're the one that's in the wrong here, you're crazy, and you're just seeing things. And what a lot of us were able to do was just kind of verbalize these positions, and people were like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not crazy. Like there's other people that view it this way as well. So the power is there, and they understand that. They might not acknowledge it, but they for sure understand it. If minimum, they show it in their reactions to kind of various takes that we have.
Yeah, they give themselves away with the verbiage as well, because you mentioned gaslighting. The verbiage that they use is all designed to shut down a conversation. It's all designed to gatekeep, and it's very base level attempts to intimidate and frighten people into being quiet. So words like toxic, which isn't a big word, but when you add on top of that racist, white supreme, bigot, homophobe, misogynist, etc., etc., when you add those words in, they are relying on regular people, normal people, to be shocked by that sort of language and be like, "Oh no, I'm not racist. I'm not a sexist. I'm not a homophobe. I better not continue down this pathway of thought with thinking that, oh yeah, these people are kind of saying stuff which I understand and resonate, but it's been utilized to such a degree now that it's now meaningless.
Right.
So, Director X calling people white incels, I believe he called us. So mature, dude. Calling us racist, it has no weight. It doesn't scare. When I get called this shit every day by people who are frightened by honesty, and toxicity has replaced the word honesty because they are desperate to stop you from talking. They are desperate to prevent you from actually being honest, and they don't like that because they don't operate through good faith and honesty themselves. They don't take these franchises that we love, that we are discussing, and they don't use them with the reverence and respect that they deserve.
Right.
It's like, oh, how can I modern day this? How can I current day this? And it's not even for an audience. It's not because I want to do something exciting and different for an audience. It's because they want to do it for themselves and their peers. They want to say to their peers, hey, look what I did. I took this character, this franchise, this whatever it may be, and I turned it into our ideology. Isn't that wonderful of me? And everyone pats themselves on the back, and then nobody watches it, and then it gets cancelled, and then they go, oh, well, a bunch of racists didn't like it. A bunch of homophobes didn't like it. A bunch of white supremes didn't like it. And nobody in that sphere is even remotely wanting to take any responsibility for what they've actually done. I don't think I've heard a single solitary word come out of Director X's mouth as actual regards to defending the content. Nothing. All I've heard, which is very telling in itself. All I've heard is, look at these racists, look at these, whatever insult he wants to put. Aren't I a victim? Intersectionality reigns. Poor, oh, woe is me. I'm a dude in the middle of nowhere in the countryside in Yorkshire who's turned the second bedroom into an office, and I've shoved a bunch of toys in it. I live a modest life, but I love these things.
Right.
I am the oppressor, Eric. I am the oppressor.
Let them tell it.
The poor director in TV and music videos, the person who's got to work with all kinds of celebrities, who's been given budgets of money to create stuff that's going to go on national television. That guy's the victim, dude.
In some way.
He's just the unfortunate victim in all of this.
Yeah, that's kind of the more socialistic, kind of communistic ideal that these guys have. It's the perpetual state of class struggle, even though it doesn't really make sense when you worded it. I mean, you worded perfectly, and like, if anything, they'd be the ones that are in the position to be the oppressive
Yes.
class here, because they're the ones with access to all the resources. But
Mhm.
they try to paint us as people that are just evil inherently, and have so much. Then it's like, again, talking out both sides of the mouth, right? It's like, in one vein, you're like, they're going to claim that you're just nothing, you're irrelevant, and all
Yep.
this. And on the other side, you're this ever so powerful being.
Yes.
And in the event something does go bad, like, definitely if it fails, it's our fault. So we have the power, while also not having the power at the same time, which is very impressive. I guess it's whatever they feel is convenient to them, and whatever position that that they're gonna have at the time is all this bullshit has ever been. I think this is why, a lot of these weirdos are kind of afraid of some of this shit that's happening in the alternative space is gonna catch on, because it's how do I word this? It's I don't want to say immune, right? Because they still have dirty tricks up their sleeves for sure.
Like
But
getting mainstream media to reach out to you and
yeah,
try and get
yeah.
you to
So
interview to take out
they got
context.
dirty tricks. They got dirty tricks, of course, that they'll pull out. But it's not as strong. It's not as impactful, because a lot of what it is that, for example, what we're doing over here at the River is disconnected from them, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's largely disconnected from them. Excuse me. We all have like various the things that we're doing that is not necessary. It doesn't have to go through them, right?
Hmm.
As far as what it is that they like, distribution is a big thing that we try to address with the Rippaverse. It's just throwing it out there as an example, and the reason being is because I wanted it to be in the event that, well, not in the event, inevitably, when the dirty tricks get pulled out, we need to be in a position to continue to serve our customers, right? Just
Yes.
as a prime example, right? And not have to deal with a lot of nonsense. I think if we had done it the traditional way, they would, that's when they start going after retailers. That's when they start going after the distributor or fulfillment center or whoever it is that you're using, because they understand that, well, I can't reason with that guy, but what I can do is derail their operations and everything it is that they're doing by playing this whatever card. They'll pick it, draw it out the hat, or then some rabbit hat, and they'll mix it up. Oh, well, we'll go with these racists today. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll reach out to these guys and say that they're working with someone that's just racist as all get out, with the hopes and anticipation. That's what cancellation is, right? With the hope and anticipation that they completely detach themselves from your project. So that's what it is that we wanted to make sure that we were ahead of, because inevitably speaking, that was always going to be something that could happen. I do think that speaks to also kind of the growth to the independence in kind of the commentary space as well, because everybody's opinion isn't really bought and sold, right? It's not, well, if you access media, yeah, but that's the point. Like, we're not, right? It's more of, I get to view it, I get to see some, I can give my objective perspective there, and the worst you can do is what it is that they do now, try to get their their handlers, let's say, involved, but ultimately they can't really do anything outside of that, right? So they have, there may be a middleman or two, but ultimately it's not like they got to go to your employer, because it's like, what fucking employer? Like, you know what I mean? I'm still gonna have my opinion no matter what it is. So I do think that you're seeing this rise in alternative, just media commentary, all that, and this trust. It's funny you mentioned, like, journalists, and to me, I've said this a million times. If 2020 didn't show you anything, it should have shown you that, to me, as far as respectable occupations, I put drug dealers and prostitutes above journalists. Just being completely honest, especially ones that work for like corporate media, because those guys are fucking criminals. But more importantly, more people are viewing it in a similar light, right? They're viewing it in a similar light. This is why people, where you once had to get that version of the opinion, right, from whoever was the established channel at the time. Now they get to go to a YouTuber. Now they get to go to someone on various forms of social media, and they get that perspective from them. These guys don't fucking like that. They fucking hate it. They fucking hate it, and you can see them when the way they spaz out in the event that someone like yourself has an opinion that completely differentiates from what the access media would say about their dog shit, which is really polishing it up. It's dog shit nonetheless, polishing it up and saying that it's the greatest thing, it's brave and bold, yada yada yada. But that's not necessarily your perspective, and other people get to view it. And that's what separates kind of what we're the era, if you will, that we're in right now versus what it was before. It's now you can get multiple angles of really any given position, right? And it doesn't have to go through their lens, or if you will, their little tunnel that they kind of used to control that established narrative, and whatever went through it was something that they individually controlled. Now those days are over. Those days are completely behind us, and it's a fun time. And it's crazy watching these guys realize that this is kind of the way of the future, and there's not much that they can do about it other than just spaz and scream and bitch at ads for daring to have an opinion that differentiates from them on any given subject. And the thing I really love about it is, yes, they're going to pull the card, racism, yada yada yada. That's inevitable, but it's just not. It's not sticking like it once was. It's
a badge of honor now. It is. It's a badge of honor, because when you call somebody a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a bigot, you're saying, I have no argument, because you said the correct word, and the correct word is control. Mm-hmm. They can't control what I'm saying. They can't control what you're saying, Nerdrotic's saying, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell. They can't control that. Now, they might try and hit YouTube and go, come on, guys. They might try and hit Google. Come on, guys. But there are other platforms which are starting to emerge, which other people are utilizing as well, should they wish to. At the moment, I have no necessity to, etc. But controlling the narrative, that is something they're very used to with mainstream media. Hence why mainstream media, a mainstream media show would like to get me on to interview me on a Zoom call that they can edit and take sound bites from and whatnot. Of course. I don't care. I don't care, because they are not talking to my audience. They're not talking to the people I care about. The people I care about are the people that come to the videos and watch the videos. They're the people that I give a shit about. The like to dislike ratio on that video about Director X is 99.4. 99.4. And it's got over 20,000 likes on it. That is an insane ratio.
Yeah.
To likes to dislikes in itself. Never mind after 20,000 people have actually liked it. And it, as of yesterday, it was just in the 3 figures of dislikes.
Yeah.
Because the message is there. People aren't stupid. Mainstream media is there to create a narrative. We're not creating narratives. We are reacting to the narrative that has been created, which is very different indeed. We're coming from a position of authenticity, and they are not coming from a position of authenticity. So when it comes to doing the reviews, for example, of Robin Hood, heaven forbid I'm actually trying to do, or Disprew's trying to do, or whoever that's actually reviewing it, we're actually trying to do something that Director X, the writer, etc., is not doing, and that's entertain the audience.
Up next for the Rippaverse this fall is Alpha Core #1, written by one of the most prolific writers of all time, Chuck Dixon. Penciled by the legendary Joe Bennett. You're not going to want to miss this book. Visit Rippaverse.com to stay up to date and grab ISOM #1 to get caught up on the first appearance of Alpha Core.